The Amazon River holds more secrets than any place on Earth, and somewhere beneath its dark, murky surface, two of nature's most fearsome predators share the same water. One is a fish the size of your hand, with teeth sharp enough to strip bone in seconds. The other is an armored reptile that has barely changed since the age of the dinosaurs. Both are apex predators, both are perfectly designed to kill, and they live in the same river, hunting the same prey. So the question is, who actually controls the Amazon? By the end of this video, you will know. And the answer might surprise you. The Amazon River system is the largest tropical river on Earth. It stretches over 6,000 kilometers and drains nearly 40% of South America. But what makes it truly different is what lives inside it. The water is warm, dark, and rich with life. Visibility is near zero in most stretches. That darkness is not just a backdrop, it is a weapon. Every predator here has learned to use it. There are over 60 species of piranha in the Amazon basin. Most are opportunistic feeders, scavengers as much as hunters. But a handful of species, like the red-bellied piranha, are something else entirely. And then there are the caimans. 6 species patrol these waters, from the tiny dwarf caiman to the black caiman, one of the largest reptiles in the Western Hemisphere, growing up to 5 meters long. Same river, same darkness, two very different kinds of lethal. Let's start with the piranha, because almost everything you think you know about them is wrong. Hollywood turned them into a swarm of mindless killers that can devour a cow in under a minute. The truth is more complicated, and in some ways more impressive. Red-bellied piranhas hunt in groups called shoals. These can number in the hundreds, but they do not attack randomly. They are cautious, calculating, and they almost always wait for weakness. A single piranha bite can remove a chunk of flesh the size of a grape in under a second. Their teeth interlock like scissor blades, top and bottom fitting together so precisely that they can cut through muscle, cartilage, even thin bone in a single snap. That bite force, relative to their body size, is among the strongest ever measured in a vertebrate animal. But here is what really makes them dangerous. They are not just predators, they are responders. When blood enters the water, or when prey is splashing and struggling, piranhas switch into an entirely different mode. A feeding frenzy is not chaos. It is a rapid, coordinated response to a signal. And once it begins, it is nearly impossible to stop. Now meet the caiman. If the piranha is a razor, the caiman is a sledgehammer. Built for power. Built for patience. Built to survive virtually unchanged for millions of years. The black caiman is the dominant predator in the Amazon. It can weigh over 300 kilograms. Its jaws generate a bite force that crushes bone as easily as you would snap a twig. But what makes the caiman truly extraordinary is not its strength. It is its patience. A caiman can lie completely still at the water's surface for hours. To every other animal, it looks like a floating log. Its scales are reinforced with bony plates called osteoderms, essentially a built-in suit of armor. Then, in a fraction of a second, it explodes. The strike is one of the fastest ambush attacks in the animal kingdom. By the time the prey hears the splash, the caiman's jaws have already closed, and then comes the death roll, a violent spinning motion that tears prey apart and disorients anything strong enough to resist. There is no escape from a death roll at full force. Caimans are not just hunters, they are ecosystem engineers. Their presence regulates entire populations of fish, birds, and mammals along the river. Where caimans thrive, the river stays balanced. Here is where it gets interesting. Piranhas and caimans share the same water, they eat some of the same prey. And sometimes, they encounter each other directly. Young caimans are vulnerable. Hatchlings measure only about 20 to 30 centimeters when they emerge from the nest. And piranhas absolutely will attack and eat them. A hatchling caiman that wanders too close to a piranha shoal may not survive. Mother caimans are fiercely protective, but they cannot be everywhere. Piranha predation on young caimans is a documented and real threat. But flip the equation. An adult caiman does not fear piranhas. Its osteoderms make its body essentially bite-proof. Piranhas simply cannot get through the armor. In fact, adult caimans regularly eat piranhas. They wade into shoals and snap them up with no more hesitation than you would pick up a snack. So the relationship is not a standoff between equals, it shifts completely depending on size and age. Piranhas dominate the young, adults dominate the piranhas. Now step back and look at the full picture. The Amazon is enormous, and control of a river this size is not won by a single animal. It is won by numbers, adaptability, and range. Piranhas win on numbers, by a massive margin, dozens of species, hundreds of millions of individual fish spread across the entire basin. They are in virtually every river, stream, and flooded forest in Amazonia. Caimans, by contrast, have been heavily hunted by humans. Through most of the 20th century, black caimans were killed for their skin in such numbers that they nearly went extinct. They have recovered in many areas, but their population is a fraction of what it once was. And here is a factor most people never consider: the flood cycle. Every year, the Amazon floods. Water spreads kilometers into the forest. Fish, including piranhas, pour into the flooded jungle and feed on fruits, seeds, and insects for months. During this season, piranhas scatter across millions of square kilometers of flooded forest. Caimans follow, but they cannot be everywhere. The fish have the numbers and the flexibility. In the flood season, the Amazon belongs to the fish. So who controls the Amazon River? The honest answer is neither. And both. The caiman is the apex predator in terms of raw power. No individual animal in the river challenges a full-grown black caiman. It regulates the ecosystem from the top. In the dry season, along the main river channels, the caiman rules. But piranhas control the river in a different way. Through sheer numbers, through their role as the Amazon's cleanup crew, removing the sick, the dead, the weak, and keeping the ecosystem from collapsing under its own weight. Without caimans, prey populations would explode and crash. Without piranhas, the river would choke on death. They are not enemies. They are two sides of the same system. The Amazon does not have a single ruler. It has a hierarchy, and these two animals sit at different levels of the same throne. You came here asking who controls the Amazon. And the answer is the one nature always gives when you ask who is in charge. It depends. Depend on the season. Depend on the size. Depend on the numbers. The river is too vast, too complex, too alive for any single creature to own it. But if you fell into the Amazon River and you were bleeding, the last thing you would worry about is the caiman, because something much smaller would find you first. If you want to know more about the deadliest creatures hiding in the world's wildest places, subscribe, because next time we are going somewhere even more dangerous. The Amazon has barely shown us its secrets, and we are just getting started.